start our live stream to ASKSBDC.com. And there we go. Okay, Scott, all yours.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Rukowski. I'm the Associate Director of Strategic Initiatives for Northern California Sbdc. Actually, the Finance Center Director, Sunita Maharaj, is going to take it away for our disaster relief loans update, PPP and COVID EIDL, brought to you by Northern California Sbdc on this January 20th, 2021. The first, never mind. It's a palindrome day today for anybody that was wondering.
Thank you, Scott. I didn't know that, so thank you. Good information to know. So of course, today is the 75th session. Thank you so much for joining us today. For you that have been joining us for all 75 sessions, welcome back. For anybody new, I will go through the introduction and then what we have new going on, agenda, and what we have new compared to last week. So I will let you know exactly what happened in the last week. That way, if you weren't able to stay on, you did get the most current information that we have today. So like Scott said, this is brought to you by Northern California Sbdc. We are supported by the SBA and the state of California. That's how we're able to provide this webinar for free and also no fee advising for small businesses. You can go on to norcalsbdc.org to find the center closest to you. The Finance Center is comprised of myself, Sunita Maharaj. We also have Steve Roth here, who is a regional lending specialist. Steve is feverishly answering these questions as you see him on your screen. He did so last week. We also have Scott Rogowski here, Associate Director of Strategic Initiatives. So our roles have changed a little bit, but Scott was kind enough to hang out with us today and talk about the grant a little bit, and then also answer these PPP and EIDL questions. So thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. We also have case force attorneys here, which I will introduce later on in the presentation. Let's go over a little bit of housekeeping and disclaimer. So the deck will be shared during this webinar in the chat area. The webinar is being recorded and will be available at ASKSBDC.com. It's also streaming live there. If you have any questions, please place those in the Q&A and not in the chat. Please let us know before your question if it is regards to PPP, EIDL, or ERTC. I don't know how many ERTC questions we can answer, but we will do our best. I do have a slide with some updates on that. Also, if the question is directed to an attorney, please indicate at the beginning of your question, just so that way we know how to answer these questions, because sometimes we're not sure if it's a PPP question or if it's an EIDL question. It kind of gets muddled up. Disclaimer. Once again, I'm putting this on our disclaimer. Things are changing all the time. We just received a new IFR this morning. It was over 40 pages. I was not able to read everything on that document, but I did get some good information that I'll be sharing here with you today. Also, this information provided, it was relevant or is relevant as of yet last night. And this information here is, we're providing you information and supplementary materials. I have links to a lot of the documents that I'm talking about. I did double check the links to make sure that they worked, and so did Alan, so they should be working this week. So today we're doing updates on the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL, Sba Debt Relief, Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, Employee Retention Tax Credit, and that is the ERTC. SBA is also going to provide us updates. Then after that, we are going to have case force. I'm sorry I did not put that on the agenda. I apologize for that, but I do have their slides in the moving forward. So what's new? So what changed from last week, or what information do we have now? So all small lenders, or actually all lenders, can participate in the PPP now. So as of yesterday, they can start going into the portal and requesting SBA numbers for the applications for the first round and second round. If you have not yet applied for the first round, you can. If you have already, if you need to apply for the second round, you can do that as well. A lot of questions last week. Do we have a list of lenders? I would suggest to go to your local SBDC office center and ask them who in your area is accepting applications. There's quite a few. We do have for the centers, we have a Google Sheet that we shared this morning with the centers, and they will be adding to that. So your center will have the most up-to-date information. And also you can email us at loans@AskSBDC. Today, or last night, was released the PPP loan forgiveness application of 150 or less. Here is the hyperlink. If you get this into the chat, please download this, because all the information is here, and this is the way that you can get to the most current app. It is called also the 3508S. Just like the 50,000 and under, they have updated it. It includes the first round draw, and it also includes the second round draw for forgiveness. I'm going to go over the difference between PPP and EIDL. We went over this last week as well, so it's the same information here. This did not change. So PPP is forgivable. It is at 1% fixed interest rate. It can go for anywhere from 2 to 5 year term. The use of funds are for payroll expenses, mortgage interest, rent, and utility expenses. This has been expanded, and I'll go over that a little further down the line. You can apply through an approved SBA lender. You can also find these lenders at sba.gov, and you can get matched up there. Or you can call your local center, SBDC center, and we'll be happy to guide you through that as well. There's no collateral required for a PPP. So for your EIDL, it is not forgivable. There is a 3.5% interest rate for all businesses except for nonprofits. You get a 2.5% interest rate. It is a 30-year term. Use of funds is for working capital, inventory, fixed debt payments, and all other normal business expenses. You cannot use the PPP money or your EIDL money or your grant funds that you may have received for the same purposes at the same time. So if you're paying PPP, if you still have PPP money and you're paying payroll costs, that's what you should use that for. Please don't use your EIDL for the same thing or your grant for the same thing. Use it for other things. Apply directly through SBA for this EIDL. You can just go to sba.gov, and all the information is there to help for you to go ahead and apply. And then you can also reach out to us and we can walk you through that. Collateral, there is collateral required for loans of 25,000 and more, and also personal guarantees for owners with 20% or more interest in the business. The Paycheck Protection Program, eligibility for P2. So the second draw, you can apply for a second draw PPP from now until March 31st, 2021. So until March 31st, 2021. Make sure to include your application number from the first draw. I did include this in here because I saw it a couple of times on a lot of material. I think this is something that might be missing. So please make sure, and if you don't know this information, contact your original lender and find out who that is, or go search through your email and find the application number, because you will need it for them to reference that.
So Nita, I've been, although the links are all good on there, I've been trying to put as many of them I can in the chat as well, but everyone should know in the downloaded file, all those links seem to be good.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate you rechecking that for me. So your maximum loan amount is going to be $2 million now for this, the PPP2. This is another thing that's changed. It has no more than 300 employees. You had to have had a 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. So that's either quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm sorry, I know there was some confusion last week in regards to which quarters that is. You can choose between first, second, third, and fourth quarter. I apologize for the confusion. Most clients that we are talking to, they were most affected on Q2 or Q3. So that's just something that we're seeing at this point in time. Previously received a first draw PPP. We're getting a lot of questions on this also, and will or has used the full amount. So you should have already used up your PPP funds, or you're close to completing or dispersing all of those funds. And it should be for authorized uses. So if the first PPP was not for authorized uses, I don't believe you will qualify for a PPP2 because it was not used for authorized uses. Must have been in business as of February 15th, 2020. Application second draw, this is where you can get it here. You can also go to sba.gov to get the first application as well, or the treasury.gov to get the first application. All lenders can participate now. So all lenders are good to go. Nonprofits, who can apply? So you can, the 501c3 organization or 501c19 veterans organizations, an eligible nonprofit news organization, an eligible 501c6 organization, or an eligible destination marketing organization. And that is new also. I did not have that information. It's not new, but I just didn't have it updated on the slides last week. So the forgiveness terms for the PPP, the loan proceeds are spent on payroll costs and other eligible expenses. The 60-40 split has not changed. That is still the same. You can also spend 100% on paychecks, but 60-40 is the minimum. At least 60% of the proceeds are spent on payroll costs. Employee and compensation levels are maintained in the same manner as required for the first draw PPP loan. For loans under 150,000, there will be a simple one-page form forgiveness, and this is it right here. The 60-40 split still applies for the PPP first draw and the second draw. So let's go over some more terms. So businesses must commit to maintaining an average monthly number of full-time equivalent FTEs. So that's what we're calling the FTE. There was an FTE question already. Employees equal or above the average number of FTE employees during the first year period. The amount that can be forgiven will be reduced in proportion to any reduction in the number of employees retained if any wages were reduced by more than 25%. I did go over the safe harbor rules are still in effect here though. So say that one of your employees did not want to come back. You cannot fill that position. You advertised for that position. You offered them a letter or an email, something written offering them their job back, and they declined. If you were not able to fill that position, because for one reason or another, you would have to give the reasoning, then it is okay to have less than what you had previously. There are other reasons as well, but this is going to go over all the safe harbor rules right here. I'm not going over it because it would take us probably 2.5 hours to go over this, and we may have another webinar just going over some safe harbor rules as well. And then you can reach out to a center, to your SBDC centers and advisors, and they can walk you through that as well. So how do you calculate your loan amount? So borrowers can calculate their aggregate payroll costs using data either from the previous 12 months or the calendar year 2019. For seasonal businesses, you may use average monthly payroll between the period of February 12th, 2019 to March 1st, 2019 and June 30th, 2019. An applicant that was not in business from February 15th, 2019 to June 30th, 2019 may use the average monthly payroll costs for that for period January 1st, 2020 through February 29th, 2020. How to calculate maximum loan amounts first round is here, and then how to calculate your revenue reduction and maximum loan amounts for the second draw is also here. So these are hyperlinks to those documents to show you exactly what you need to do. So for the PPP2 draw limitations, the maximum second PPP loan amount is the lesser of 2.5 times the average monthly payroll costs and healthcare costs in the year prior to when the loan was received or within the calendar year, which is the same as the first draw. This is where it changes a little bit. So if your business happens to be under the NAICS code of 72, which that consists of hotels, casinos, food service, and more. These are just some examples. These are not all of them. You can click onto this code 72 and it will show you everyone that's under 72. Or you could just Google NAICS code starting with 72 and it should show you all of the businesses that can apply for 3.5 times the average monthly payroll costs and healthcare costs in the year prior to when the loan was received or within the calendar year for any business that is classified under code 72. So this is great news, but your maximum loan amount is still going to be $2 million as everybody else. So let's go over the eligible costs of the PPP. Eligible costs for payroll, which is a minimum of 60% if you want full forgiveness. Salary, wage, commission, or similar compensation payment of cash tips or equivalent. Vacation, parental, family, medical, and sick leave. I did have a question yesterday, just really quickly in regards to paying out vacation time. If that's, yes, you can use that to pay out vacation time. So say at the end of the year, they didn't take their vacation, you as a business pay out vacation at the end of the year. Yes, you can use that money for that. But make sure also that you're speaking to one of our HR representatives or advisors to make sure that you're doing that correctly, because there are some state regulations in regards to people carrying over vacation. You can also use that money for dismissal or separation, group health benefits, including employer insurance premiums, retirement benefits, state and local tax for payroll. Allowable uses of the 40%, you can use that for all payroll costs, of course, payment of interest on mortgage obligation, rent, utilities, and additional uses on the next, which is going to be on the next page. Additional uses, this is something new that was just released, I believe, last week or the week before on the PPP, and you can do it for PPP first draw and second draw. So these are additional expenses that you can use this money for. Payment for any software, cloud computing, and other human resource and accounting needs. Covered property damage costs, costs related to property damage due to public disturbances that occurred during 2020 that are not covered by your insurance. Covered supplier costs, expenditures to a supplier pursuant to a contract, purchase order, or other for goods in effect prior to taking out the loan that are essential to the recipient's operation. Covered worker protection expenditures, so PPEs, so personal protective equipment, and adaptive investments to help a loan recipient comply with federal health and safety guidelines or any equivalent state and local guidance related to the COVID-19. So previous PPP loans can also claim these costs as covered expenses, pending the 60% payroll rule, as long as the loan has not already been forgiven. So you can't go backwards. If the loan's already been forgiven, then you're forgiven, you're good. You don't have a loan, so you don't have to go backwards on this. So taxes and deductions, expenses made with the forgiven PPP loan, proceeds can be deducted from taxes. This is huge for a lot of people. This is great news. So this just came out as well 2 weeks ago or so. Expenses made with forgiven PPP loan proceeds can be deducted from your taxes. The gross income a business is required to report will not include any PPP loan amounts that is forgiven. I should have highlighted and darkened and bolded the forgiven portion of it. So just be careful on this. This is what it stipulates in the readings in the IFRs, amount that is forgiven. This is also something not taxable, as income and deductions are allowed on PPP, forgiven funds, idle grants, certain loan payment assistance and grants for shuttered venues. And we're going to go over shuttered venues a little bit, the information that we do know that has not been released yet, but Steve will go over that a little bit later on in the slides. So additional PPP updates, idle advance will not be reduced from the forgivable PPP amount. Applies to existing borrowers as well, waiting on the process for those that have already applied for forgiveness. I don't believe that came out today, but I'm sure that SBA, if they had a chance to review what was released late last night, might have this information. So if not, then we're still waiting on this. Clarifies covered period will be between 8 and 24 weeks. So you can ask for forgiveness at 8 weeks up to 24 weeks. That is up to you. So if you spend down the money in 10 weeks, then you can ask for forgiveness on the 11th week if you want. Just make sure you have all your documents together. Clarifies other group insurance such as vision and dental are eligible expenses as well. Required documents that you should please keep, no matter if you're $150,000 or less PPP loan amount, forgivable, please keep these for at least 4 years. Payroll and related costs, employee benefits, utilities, rent, mortgage interest. All of the applications can be found at sba.gov, and this is for over 150, the easy, and also the simplified applications for forgiveness. This is a hyperlink also to take you to all of those applications. Keep all your documents for 4 years, please. I am going to hand this off to Steve Roth. He is going to go over idle and a couple of other things. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you answering all those questions. You're just going to have to unmute yourself really quick, Steve. Thank you.
There we go. Have to be retrained after 25 minutes. Yeah. So hi, everybody. So I'll go over a few topics. So EIDL reopened. EIDL is the Economic Impact Disaster Loan Program, which started last March of 2020, ended at the end of 2020, and then was reopened. So now the EIDL program has been reopened until 12/31/2021, the end of the calendar year. There's an EIDL advance program, which works a little differently than it did last year. And if you've been denied the EIDL loan, you have 6 months to be reconsidered. For my own clients, one of the real changes this year is that the EIDL loans are being processed very quickly. I had a client apply for an EIDL loan less than 2 weeks ago, and she's already been funded. So a year ago, because of the huge demand, it took several weeks to get funded. Now it's happening very quickly. Next slide. So the EIDL advance, Congress allocated $20 billion for EIDL advances. And if we go back to last year, when you applied for the EIDL loan, you checked a box and you automatically applied for the EIDL advance. The EIDL advance was set at $1,000 per employee, up to 10 employees or $10,000. So if you had 3 employees, you would have gotten a $3,000 deposit into your operating account without any preamble. And then later on, you would have gotten the EIDL loan. Under the new rules, businesses in low-income communities can receive up to $10,000 in the EIDL advance. EIDL advances are grants as opposed to loans. So if you've already received an EIDL advance in the first round of less than $10,000, you can reapply and receive additional funds up to a maximum of $10,000 if you live in a low-income area as defined by the new rules for the SBA. And the best way to do that is really through the SBA. Next one. So low-income definition, the term low-income community simply means any population census tract. And I'm sure we're all aware of our census tracts and the numbers and where we are. That's a joke. If the poverty rate is at least 20%. So if you're in a low-income area, you have a good chance of being part of this program. If you're in a rural area, then you have to look at the census tract does not exceed 80% of the statewide median family income. So you can't be in an area in a place like Ross on the coast in Marin County just because it's small, right? If you're in a small farming community, then you'll be okay. And in case of a tract within a metropolitan area, the median family income cannot exceed 80% of the greatest statewide median family income. So look to the SBA to do this. We'll try and help you as well. But when you apply for EIDL, it should come out. But if you are in a low-income area, if you did not receive $10,000 the first time, this is something you should definitely look at. Next one. Right. Another part of the new Stimulus Act passed in December of 2020 is really a big help to lots and lots of people. The Sba Debt Relief. So any borrower of a qualifying SBA loan can get an additional 3 months of principal and interest deferred starting in February of 2021. Remember, this is a deferral, not forgiveness. So this will be added on to the end of the loan. But for February, March, and April, the 3 months included, it would be obviously a very significant benefit to cash flow if you can defer the payments on the loan. For underserved borrowers, namely, those in the smallest borrowers in the hardest hit communities, hardest hit businesses, have the opportunity to receive an additional 5 months of relief for a total of 8 months of deferred payments. So that would take your payments all the way well into the fall of 2021. If you have a new SBA loan as of February 1st, 2021, you'll receive 6 months of deferred interest and principal up to a cap of $9,000 a month. So if for most SBA loans, $9,000 a month is a pretty good cost. So for most people, this will be a great benefit. So if you're going to get a new SBA loan, you'll be deferred up to $9,000 a month for 6 months. If you have an existing SBA loan, you'll be deferred for 3 months. And if you're in an underserved borrower in a hard hit business like restaurants, bars, movie theaters, etc., you can apply for an extra 5 months of forgiveness. And you'll work through your bank to do this. The bank will know the rules and they'll be able to help you. There's also a new provision to cover bankruptcies. Bankruptcies are probably not a lot of you are actually in bankruptcy, but bankruptcy is a federal court, not the state court. But if you are in bankruptcy, the SBA administrator can determine whether you're still eligible for a PPP loan. It does require the bankruptcy court approval. And you'll obviously, if you're in bankruptcy court, you'll have a bankruptcy attorney. So you'd want to check with your bankruptcy attorney to see whether you would qualify for getting a PPP loan while in reorganization. I don't know if it applies to people who are in Chapter 7. I don't think it would. But if you're in Chapter 11, the PPP loan could act as reorganization money, help you come out of bankruptcy with a clean slate. I've been through bankruptcy with portfolio companies, so I'm happy to help. For loan enhancements, the new law basically gave $2 billion to enhance the SBA's existing government loan guarantee programs, including the mainstream 7A loan program, which is part of almost every bank in the Bay Area, and the 504 loan program, which goes through the community development corporations and funds real estate. It also benefits the micro lending program, which is excellent for all small businesses. It waives borrower and lender fees within the 7A and 504 programs. It'll increase the 7A loan guarantee from its normal 85 to 75% to 90%. So it gives the lenders additional incentives to make loans because they have a higher guarantee level. The SBA Express Loan Program is now $1 million limit. I believe that's up from $350,000, but $1 million would be a very robust SBA Express small business loan. And it also establishes the 504 Express Loan Program, which allows the the community development corporations, the 504 lenders, greater discretion for making loans of under $500,000. So it can help for all small real estate deals, help you get it done quicker. And it enhances the micro lending program for COVID-19. Next one. There are a lot of good things going on at the Finance Center. We're happy to help. There's a special provision for shuttered venue operators. So if you've been a movie theater, a theatrical venue, you were doing live performances and you've been unable to operate because of COVID shelter-in-place restrictions, which will be most, there's a new special program designed specifically for shuttered venue operators. And probably best not to go through it here, but just contact us at the Finance Center and we'll help you through it. So remember, theater promoters, live performing arts operators, museum operators, motion picture operators, talent reps, etc. We'll work you through this, but it's a great program for folks who've really been completely closed for an extended period of time due to the shelter-in-place orders, especially here in California and the Bay Area. Next one. The Employee Retention Tax Credit. That's a good one. It's like Klingon or something. If you can't apply for PPP, you can apply for the Employee Retention Tax Credit. So the Employee Retention Tax Credit basically provides an offset for folks for maintaining employment and paying people during the period of time. There are a bunch of rules around it. It'll reduce the amount due on your 941 and 940 if you're a corporation. And again, it's really best to contact the SBDC so we can help you through this one at a time. You can't do PPP and the Employee Retention Tax Credit, I believe. But again, we'll work through you. We'll work with each company through this one-on-one. Next one. Right. And for that, I'll go back to Sunita. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'll
Steve.
answer more questions and stop talking.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Today, we also have Julie Klaus from the San Francisco District Office, and we also have Carrie Ellenwood here with us from the Sacramento office, the Deputy District Director in Sacramento. I will let you guys take it from here and provide any updates that you would like to share with us today.
I'm forgetting how to unmute too.
Same problem, Julie.
Hey, Carrie.
Hi.
I don't know if you had something prepared if you wanted to go, or I can talk through. We got pushed a lot of information was pushed out last night. So I didn't prepare a slide or anything, but I'm happy to try to talk through stuff unless you've got something prepared, Carrie.
I do have something prepared, Julie. If you have me go first, that'll be great. I'll share what I have and comment that yes, we have received a lot of information yesterday. We had not received our final direction on the venue program, so we're still waiting for that. So although you can look through the legislation and read through it, how we're going to execute on that has not officially been delivered to us. We also, in your report, Steve, the section regarding the payments and the 504-7A program, we received guidance on that this morning, and I haven't had a time to actually read that whole entire notice. I think I sent it to all of you in the SBDC world. If I didn't, let me know, and I will try and get that out as well. I had a bunch of lots of emails this morning when I came in. So what I wanted to share with you today, though, is last week with our micro lenders, our CDFIs, CFIs, they did over 60,000 loans for our micro lender program with the underserved markets. So we're very happy to say that. And as Sunita mentioned, the PPP program is now open to all of our lenders to participate. And so those numbers are going up rapidly. There are some delays in the program submission for the lenders. So as you are either going for your first round of paycheck protection or your second round of paycheck protection, please be patient with them. They're working very hard. I know quite a few of our community lenders got an early start on it last week, and we're working through the weekends getting these into our platform for that. Also, if you had a first round paycheck protection and you have submitted for forgiveness and you had an EIDL advance grant that was deducted, that will be reimbursed to you through your lender. So SBA will be working with the lenders to refund those loans to you, or those grants to you. The money that was deducted from your paycheck protection will come back through your lender with interest. So be on the lookout for that. And again, some of these things are not happening as fast as any of us would like them to, but we certainly are doing our very best to get those funds back to those of you that did have them deducted from that paycheck protection loan. And then the other piece of good news I have is that on our platform, our new platform for women-owned small businesses called Ascent, we'd had 65,000 people check that platform out. Some aren't women, anybody's eligible to use it, but it's like an on-the-street MBA program for women-owned small businesses with certain focuses on the challenges that they face. But again, anyone can use it, and we've had 9,000 people register. So that's very exciting news for us on the women-owned small business front. That's what I have for today. Anything else you want to know from me? I'll participate in the questions. Julie, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, thanks, Carrie. Part of the information, some of the updates on our website that were pushed some point overnight, there are some updates on the targeted EIDL advance program. So to distinguish from the EIDL advance that happened over the summer per the CARES Act, this is called the targeted EIDL advance program, and it's a result of the most recent legislation, the Economic Aid Act. And so the parameters are put on the website, and you will see there is no application process. So right now, the first thing that's going to happen is SBA is going to go back to the EIDL advance recipients who received less than the $10,000 and give them instructions to see if they can submit additional information to SBA to see if they qualify under the targeted EIDL advance. And if they qualify under this targeted EIDL advance parameters, SBA will pay them the difference between what they received and the $10,000. So that's the first tranche. The second tranche is the people who applied for EIDL advance over the summer, but did not receive the EIDL advance funds because we ran out of funding in that program, fairly quickly. So again, SBA will message the people that fit those parameters that applied and did not receive the funds. And again, if they qualify under this targeted EIDL advance parameters, they may also be eligible to get the $10,000 advance grant. So as of today, there is no actual application process for the targeted EIDL advance. If you fit into one of the two buckets, categories I just explained, you will get an email directly from SBA, and it'll provide you with instructions and maybe some additional information that they may want from you so that you can see if you fit the parameters for the targeted EIDL advance. And again, that information was just posted on our website as well. And there's some helpful tips there. Like, I know everyone's a little leery about getting some, emails that look too good to be true, right? And is this a legitimate email or is this a fraudulent email? So there is some advice about what that email is going to look like and who it's going to be from so that you can verify it's a legitimate email. Of course, anytime you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us or reach out to the SBDC and we can confirm that it's an email from SBA, a legitimate email. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. And then if people are interested in the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant, sorry, I got to get used to saying that one. There is some information on our website as well, and there's some sample calculations, so you can kind of get a rough idea if you think you're going to want to apply for this when it becomes available. You can kind of get a rough idea of what you may have qualified for, the dollar amount you may qualify for. And again, as Carrie said, there'll be more information definitely coming out about this program, but there is just a little bit on the website in addition to that webinar that took place last week. And again, as Carrie said, the debt relief program, we just received the notices late last night, so we're all reading them this morning and trying to digest those. But it is another 3 months of principal and interest paid for eligible entities. And then there's this extension or this enhancement for certain other types of businesses as well. So as we process this information, we'll be able to provide a little bit more detail, hopefully in the next webinar.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Julie and Carrie. And David, you're going to give some updates on some other information as well?
Yeah, just really quick. For some, it's new. For some, it's just a recap. Again, we have the good folks with the SBDC. On February 9th, the local Shasta SBDC will be having a tax webinar. So it's a good place to get in there to learn again about the different taxes that are going on for this go around and the new IRS rules. So they have a good SBDC specialist going over that. And along with, again, the good folks with the SBDC, we also have the Women's Business Centers. And one of our local Women's Business Center, they are having a webinar. It's a Women's Leadership Circle webinar that they're having. So that's something that might be informative for a lot of people. And I'll go ahead and put this on the chat there on their registration. And one last thing, our SCORE organization, they are having a really good webinar, and it's about security, data privacy, cybersecurity kind of things for your business. And again, that's going to be coming up on 28th of January. So I'll put those things on the chat, the registration. Again, we're trying to let you know about all the different resources that are available. Also, for some of you that might be a nonprofit business, the Women's Business Center, along with the SBDC consultants, have received additional funding to help during this time. So the Women's Business Center can also help the nonprofits applying for any of these programs too. So again, that's additional resource. And like Carrie said, and Julie, that the Women's Business Center is open and equal to all. So you can, men also can join in on some of those webinars. That's all I have for today. Thank you. And back to you, Sunita.
Thank you so much, David. David or Carrie, can you please provide the website for Accent in the chat? A lot of people are asking what website that is. That would be awesome if you could do that, please.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank
Absolutely.
you very much.
I've already got it.
Welcome.
I've already got it in there. Oh,
Perfect.
I need to send it to everybody, but yes.
And then,
Well, good job, Alan. Thank you.
yes,
I'm
thank you
flattered
so
like
much,
that.
Alan.
It's my job.
And then Scott, did you want to go over some of the what's going on with the California Relief Grant? I know there was a lot of questions in regards to people haven't received emails yet because they're sending out rolling emails. When's the round 2 starting? Those types of things.
Yes, yeah, thanks, Sunita. So the California Relief Grant Fund, it's a total fund currently at $475 million. There's 2 rounds, round 1 and round 2. We just finished round 1. So they essentially took the 475 million, divided it by 2. So there's 237.5 million. So 237.5 million for round 1, which ended on the 13th. If you applied in round 1 and completed your application, you actually completed the application, you typed yes and you press continue, it would say that your application is complete. If you got to the point where it asked you to upload documents in round 1 before January 13th, then you are being considered for round 1. You will, if you have not received a text message, so if you clicked on the application that you'd like to receive text messages for updates, that was the SMS text policy. If you click that, then you will receive a text message, and those are legit text messages. I've had a couple clients send me some text messages to see what they look like, and they are, I have confirmed with Lendistry of what they look like, and they are legit. So if you have not been notified, if you complete the application in round 1 before the 13th, and you have not been notified, you will be notified before this Friday, the 22nd. They're going to notify you in 3 different ways. They're either going to tell you that you were approved for the award, for the grant, and they just need additional documentation and verification, that you are waitlisted, and waitlisted means you are not selected for round 1, but you might be selected for round 2. And then not selected is technically a decline. You were just not qualified, or you did not meet some metrics or requirements. So either awarded, which you need to verify additional information, waitlisted, which is sent to round 2, or not selected, which is a decline. If you are accepted for award, like they approved you for an award, you're going to get the money. They just need to do some other verification to verify who you are, who you say you are. They're also going to need you to connect with your bank account information through a third-party company called Plaid, which is owned by Visa, so it's 100% safe and secure. If you do not feel comfortable linking your bank account to Lendistry to get this money, then you will unfortunately not be able to get the money. They're not going to be sending checks to you. The only way to get this grant fund money is to link your bank account to them. Again, if you do not feel comfortable doing that, then you will not get the grant funds. They will give it to someone else. So if you completed your application and you want to go back and change it, you're not able to edit your application. You are going to have to email Lendistry at careliefgrant@lendistry.com. I'll put it in the chat in a little bit, but it's careliefgrant@lendistry.com to make any changes on your applications. The only way to change your application. If you got to the point where you completed your application, but you did not complete your documents upload, you do need to do that before Friday so they can notify you if you're, again, approved, waitlisted, or not selected. So you are going to be able to just use the same username and password, sign in, upload documents. If you need help with that, we're here to help you at no cost. And if you did not complete your application, you will be able to go in and update your application at any time. Like you can update your application now until when round 2 ends. Round 2 starts at 8 a.m. on February 2nd, and it expires at 6 p.m. on February 8th. So 8 a.m. February 2nd, round 2 will open. It'll end at 6 p.m. on February 8th. Some might say, wow, that's only 6 days. Well, in the first round, there was over 300,000 applications for the state of California. If you applied in round 1 and you did not complete your application for whatever reason, but you do have a username and password, you don't need to reapply. Again, if you have a username and password and did not complete your application in round 1, you do not need to reapply. If you reapply, it'll create confusion. It could possibly relate to some sort of fraud case. Do not reapply if you have a username and password. Just go to the link that you were sent for the partner, whether it was Sbdc's link or another partner that you worked with within Lendistry, on their website, which is careliefgrant.com. If you go to that website, you can find a partner and then you can apply. But if you have a username and a password and you're getting ready to update your application, you do not need to reapply. Just go to that partner page, re-sign in, and then it'll take you to your edit application portion. If you have not applied at all, you missed it completely round one, it's okay. Round two is the same as round one, same amount of money. This is not first come, first serve. You do not need to apply it, February 2nd at 8 a.m. You can apply anytime between the 2nd and the 8th of February to get into round two for designation round two. For round one, you're going to be notified either via text. It might go into your spam email or junk email, but from the 15th to the 22nd, Lendistry was notifying people in round one the status. Once you are selected for the award, it'll take about 45 days for you to get the money. Not saying it is exactly 45 days or 10 days or 30 days. It's somewhere between when you accept it to when you get it, somewhere between 45 days. Again, all these questions and answers, we're not going to start doing daily webinars for the grant until possibly February 1st, right before it launches, and then all the way through the 8th. You're welcome to reach out to us, call us, email us. We're here for you at no cost to help you do anything that you need to do with that California grant, wherever you are in the process. We also have access and a great partnership with Lendistry, where if you give us your loan number, we can find out where you are in the process, similar to kind of what we were doing with the EIDL loans last year. But go ahead and email. I'll put the email in there that you need to email, and then you can reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it very much with the updates. I'm going to go over upcoming Finance Center webinars really quickly, and then also you can, we'll just go over the other webinars for regional, and we'll go straight into Case Force, because they are waiting patiently here. If you have any questions for them, please let us know via the Q&A. Also, I'm not sure if they have updates for us today, but I'm just going to go through this upcoming webinars really quickly. So we have one. Steve is presenting, Steve Roth, Expansion Capital for Existing Businesses 2 years or older. And then we're going to have another webinar on the 27th next week on Wednesday, giving you more updates for COVID disaster loans, PPP, EIDL, and if anything else new comes out. I'm going to go over the NorCal SBDC learning really quickly as well. Planning Your Business is on the 21st. There's a Restaurant Survival Strategies also on the 21st. HR Update for 2021 on the 26th. On the 27th, we have Financing Your Business. And on the looks like on February 2nd, Cybersecurity Basics. You can get any of these webinars here at sbdc.events network calendar, and you can access that and go ahead and sign up for any of those. We also have the Learning Center at learn.norcalsbdc.org, and you can find any of our older webinars there, log in, and you can review any of that information there as well. So we thank you very much for joining us, and we are going to go into Case Force. This disclaimer: these office hours are intended to be a resource for small businesses with fewer than 25 employees and nonprofits to learn about, get information about various resources and legal issues relevant to COVID-19. So it has to be related to COVID-19. They are not intended to offer legal advice, and the leaders of the office hours are not able to represent participants as their attorneys. The session is intended to address issues related to the pandemic, and panelists aren't able to comment on general or non-pandemic related issues. These are attorneys that are here today to answer any of the questions. I'm not sure if anybody has any updates or best practices they would like to share today. I think Brett and Sandra are here as well, so I don't know if you guys want to give any updates. If not, we can just jump into the Q&A, which I believe Steve has just completely answered over 100 questions already. So Let me hand it, thank you so much, Steve. Let me hand it over to the attorneys if they have any updates. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go back into the Q&A. We are going to be here until, if we've already gone through all the questions, we can cut out at before 12, but let's see if we have any more questions here in the next several minutes and see if we can be of any additional help to any of the attendees here today. I am going to go back into some of the older questions and give some answers to everybody. Tariff is saying, I applied for the state grant with Lendistry. When do I expect to hear back? Will they let us know either way? Scott did reply, he says, if you completed your application, then they will you will get notified by this Friday. So if that's a question that you have, I have had people email me and text me asking me the same question. So you should know by Friday, either way.
This is Catherine really fast from Morrison and Forster. I just wanted to correct one thing I think that was said earlier,
Sure.
which is that one of the changes that the new law made was that you can actually now take a PPP loan and take the employee retention tax credits. The important thing is obviously you can't use you can't take the credits for any payroll that you use out of your PPP loan. So you'd have to, whatever qualified expenses going to payroll for PPP purposes can't be the same payroll expenses you use to take the credit. But that was sort of a big change in the new legislation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine. I appreciate you correcting that information. So a lot of people are asking, when can I apply for EIDL loan again or an EIDL loan? You can apply right now, today, sba.gov, and complete the application and apply today. Like Steve is saying, most people that are applying now, it seems to be going a little bit faster. They know within weeks because there's not that many people applying for EIDL at this point. It may increase now that more people are talking about it again, and it's been, application date has been pushed back to the 30th of this year or 31st of this year. So apply today. If you want an EIDL loan, please apply today. So sorry, I didn't know the first question. It's under user, not the advance. They received a loan of 100,000 advance grant. Sorry, I don't know the first portion of that question, so I can't answer that correctly. I'm not sure if Steve answered the first part. Chris is asking, I need a direct contact for legal questions. Is somebody from Case Force able to provide that in chat? Lynn, trying to register at Accent, but it's not working. It is the same email and password as any other SBA website, or do I need to create a new account?
So, Sunita, excuse me, for the Ascent, that is a different account. They will set that up on the Ascent platform with a new username and password.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Victoria is asking for any of the case attorneys, any updates on business rent moratorium?
Yeah, this is Damien. I don't know. No update I'm aware of.
Okay. So Victoria, unfortunately, not at this time. And I'm not sure, let me look in chat and see if Chris, Sandra put that information in chat.
I just copied it to Chris. And then, so Carrie or Julie, is it known that is it still law that you can't get an SVO, a Sheltered Venue Operator grant, as well as a PPP? You can't get both, right? But
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
apply for both and then choose if you wanted to, right?
Well, I'm not going to say yes or no, but I will point out that on the PPP application, you will be self-certifying that you are not applying or receiving a sheltered venue operators grant. So
all right. So it's
I just,
okay.
we may get more clarifying guidance on that, but I do want to point out that there is a self-certification on the PPP application. And as we know, I've had people ask me like, well, if I apply for PPP, can I tell the bank just to hold the funds? And unfortunately, that's not an option. The intent with PPP is to get the money out pretty quickly. So there isn't an ability to like defer, so to speak, the disbursement. So the one advice though I'm giving people is to, since there's enough information about the sheltered venue operators grant to understand how much you might be eligible for in that program, you might want to run the numbers. Again, look at how much you could be eligible for under PPP, how much you would be eligible for under the grant, and what purposes do you need the funds. If you're payroll heavy, look to see the PPP, but if you have a lot of other expenses, then the grant might be more advantageous. So you can kind of do a little bit of number crunching first and understand your needs to help you decide between the two. And again, this is information that's accurate of today. There may be additional guidance coming out in the future that changes this, but as of today.
Thank you very much, Julie.
So Catherine, I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this question or not, but somebody's asking a question in regards to the ERTC. If client was able to take the second quarter 2020, but not third quarter, sales were higher, is he eligible to take the fourth quarter?
I don't know the answer to this exactly. I'm not aware of anything that says that you cannot, but I really haven't looked at this closely enough. I don't immediately see any reason why you wouldn't be able to.
Okay, thank you. Let's see here. Lee is asking, we are a nonprofit that received the first PPP loan. We used the 24-week period for forgiveness, which crossed over into October, but also surpassed my PPP loan by a lot. Does that prevent me from taking the ERTC for fourth quarter 2020?
I'm not sure what it means to say I surpassed my, I guess maybe what they're saying is that they had expenses that surpassed the PPP loan. But I'm not really quite sure what that question is asking. Maybe Leanne, you can clarify that.
Right, Lee, and if I'm understanding this correctly, you just can't use the funds for the same purpose. So if you're using it for rent and other things instead of just payroll in that last quarter, then you can. You just can't use the monies for the same thing, as Catherine stated, and as we stated previously. Lynn, does SBA have tax professionals that sole proprietors can use?
No, we don't. We wouldn't be able to refer them to an individual tax provider. I would reach out to your business, people that you work with in your industry, and or if you're in a chamber of commerce, that might be another place to get some suggestions, but we don't do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lynn, we can answer some questions, but we are also not tax professionals. So you can reach out to your local centers. There might be somebody there, or at the finance center. We can answer some, but we may not be able to answer all of your questions. So we are down to 0 questions. We've answered over about 130. Okay, Tim. Tim is asking, a client started 2 businesses in January 2020. Both businesses generated revenue in January 2020. He will be filing 2020 tax returns using 2 Schedule Cs under his Social Security number. Both businesses are profitable. Can he file for 2 PPPs? And is he subject to the 100,000 annual compensation limits?
I don't, I mean, I don't know the answer to that question. I guess the question is really whether PPPs are limited by taxpayer or whether they're limited by business line. And I don't know the answer to that question.
Correct. That is a great question, Tim. I believe they're still subject to, the one thing I can answer is they're still subject to the 100,000 annual compensation limits, but you're talking about for each company. That I'm not sure. Carrie, is there a way to possibly, or Julie, get that answered?
I would point them to the affiliation rules. So if they're separate EINs, they can apply separately, but they may be deemed affiliated. So that may be applied to the cap. And if it's common owner, they can only be paid out of one business, not both.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Julie.
Yeah. And Carrie, if you have extra or additional, feel free to supplement.
Thank you. You did a great job, Julie. Thank you.
Evelyn, this is being recorded, and you can find it at ASKSBDC.com for any of our older, this webinar or any of our older webinars.
Typically, it takes about half a day or so for it to get processed and uploaded to be available there. So I'd look later on today, this evening or tomorrow is when you should see it up there.
Thank you. And Lee is asking, who can I talk with to see if we qualify for this Shuttered Venue Grant? You can talk to your local SBDC. Please give us a call or email us or find us at NorCalSbdc.org, and you can find your local center there. You can also email us at loans@AskSBDC right here, and we will try and get you that information. We don't have a lot of information on it, but we have some. So we'll try to give you the best info that we have at this time. So Sandra's asking, for PPP round 1, is there a minimum level of gross receipts for a business in 2020? The COVID impact is more than 25% reduction. For your PPP 1, you don't have the stipulation of the 25% reduction. You just have to have a reduction that was COVID related. So PPP 1 does not have the stipulation of the 25% reduction, but you must have a reduction because of COVID. Okay, it's 11:40. You're welcome, Sandra. Thank you for being here today. Is there anything else that we can help? Any more questions that anybody has? Elizabeth, this is a large one. Okay. Let's see here. I was approved really early for the first round of PPP, back when it was supposed to be used in 8 weeks. I worked really hard, okay, to spend the money. The rules included paying employees who would have been happy to stay home and not even be paid so that I would have the FTE count. It all got really confusing, especially since rules changed. Yes, definitely. We are spending the last dollars. I haven't applied for forgiveness yet because I'm kind of traumatized by the whole thing. Is the FTE thing going to mess us up? So if it's under $50,000, you just have to attest to how many FTEs that you had. I just reach out to us. We'll help you fill out the application for 150 and under, Elizabeth. Please reach out to us. We want to help walk you through this so that way you'll be able to get the best information possible. Please don't do this yourself because we want to help you. We're here to help you. So please reach out to us. And here's our information here. You can email us as well. We just ask that you sign up as a client for no fee advising. Any more questions? Scott will be here all day. He'll answer these questions. So come on, give it to us.
Thanks to help with Steve. So thank you very much, Steve, for helping out.
I know.
We don't have to answer 200 questions in 30 minutes like we used to.
Where to find info out on the Shuttered Venue Grant? On sba.gov. You can just Google Shuttered Venue Grant, and when it comes up, you'll see if it says SBA, then you click on that link. Sorry, I can't get out of my screen to find that for you and upload it, but Alan is going to do that for us. So thank you so much, Alan. It'll be in the chat. Lori's saying thank you all. At least someone is listening to us. We have been here for 75 sessions. We are going to be here until they take us off the air. Corey. So thank you for being here with us. Cheryl, I am an SBDC client, but my questions are for the Finance Center about the programs. How do I reach them directly? You can go ahead and email us at loans@askSbdc.com and then go ahead and let us know that you are currently a client and what your questions are, and then we will reach out to you as soon as we can. Should we apply for EIDL 2 loan in addition to the first EIDL 1 loan for more loan? I think, sorry, I know it's really confusing, the PPP first draw and then the second draw and then the EIDL. There is only one EIDL. There isn't a second EIDL. If you have not applied for EIDL yet, then yes, you should. But remember, that is a loan. It's not forgiven. It is a 30-year loan at 3.75%. But you know, if you go through the whole process and you decide at the very end you don't need the money or don't want the money, then you can always decline the offer. But it'd be a good idea to maybe just apply and see how much money you're able to get.
And also, Sunita, if they want to ask for reconsideration on that, they can email that pdcrecons@sba.gov, and that way they can ask for an increase. It's not, you know, promised that they'll get one. They can do that though through that pdcrecons@sba.gov.
Thank you so much. And then that information is on a previous slide. So if you download these slides, you will get the information there. And we also provide it every single week. Sandra's saying this service is wonderful and appreciated each week. I have advised many to attend and take advantage of the expertise. Thank you so much, Sandra. Yes, please tell everybody. We are here every Wednesday until further notice. We're providing PPP, EIDL, grant, shuttered venue, anything that we can advise you on, we will, and give you the most up-to-date information. So thank you for being here. Steve is answering the questions faster than I can read them.
We'll have to do something about that. I think
he's a machine, and it's very much appreciated. So I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you so much for answering these questions so quickly for everybody, because I know that sometimes we can't get through all the questions, but most of the time we do our very, very best to give you the information that we have. We are down to 100. We're down participants now. A lot of people have left us. If you have any more questions, please go ahead and ask them now, or else we will be calling it a day for everybody here.
I think that's
any more
probably
questions?
a good idea.
You're welcome, Irene. Thank you. Sandra, will a Schedule C for a sole prop be sufficient for the payroll requirement? Yes, you would just follow the Schedule C on how to line 31 times 2.5, and that's what your loan amount is going to be for PPP.
I see someone put a question in chat instead of Q&A, and is wondering about trying to get hold of a live person to talk to about reconsideration. They're caught in a loop, they say, of asking for docs and sending docs.
Okay, the shuttered application is not out yet, so that is still pending. So we're still waiting on that, Rachel. So you cannot apply yet, but you can get information on the SBA.gov.
And that information will be updated regularly. And when the program is announced, we'll be sending out a news release to that effect. So keep your eyes posted on news and the SBA.gov website.
Thank you. And yes, you can apply for PPP even though you applied for the California Relief Grant. You can still apply for the first or second round PPP. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you being here. We will be back on next Wednesday. There's so much information out there. I want to say that a lot of the advisors, technical services, everyone is putting on a webinar. If you want to get something tomorrow, I'm sure you can find something. But if you want to come back to us, just to hang out with us again next Wednesday, please join us at 10:30, and it is the same link. So we will see you then. Thank you so much to Carrie, to Julie, to Steve, to Scott, to David, to Catherine, and sorry, let me see if I can see everybody else's names here. Damien, Sandra, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And Alan, as always, and Bree, thank you very much. We appreciate you all. So we will see you next Wednesday.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay safe, everybody.